Today on the Daily Scoop podcast from the Scoop News Group, Marsha Blackburn's DOGE acts would codify Schedule F and freeze federal hiring and salaries. And the House and Senate Defense Committees agree on an independent cyberforce assessment in the 2025 NDAA. It's Monday, December 9th, 2024. Welcome to the Daily Scoop podcast, where you'll hear the latest news and trends facing government leaders. I'm the host of the Daily Scoop podcast, Billy Mitchell. Thanks so much for joining me. Let's get into today's top headlines. A package of bills introduced by Senator Marsha Blackburn of Tennessee last week would freeze federal hiring and salaries for a year and reintroduce a merit-based compensation structure for federal employees. Blackburn on Thursday announced a single bill as part of her DOGE Act, but a spokesperson from her office clarified in an email to FedScoop that she plans to introduce 7 bills under that umbrella. The package would establish a pilot program for civilian employees in the federal government, codifying what President-elect Donald Trump attempted to establish during his first term with Schedule F. That bill would include a carve-out for agencies serving public safety and national security functions, meaning those employees would still have typical federal employment protections. A Biden administration official with the Office of Personnel Management previously told FedScoop that the implementation of Schedule F, part of a 2020 Trump executive order that eases the president's ability to fire federal workers, would harm the government's ability to recruit top talent for tech, IT, cyber, and artificial intelligence positions. The Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, is a council that Trump is planning to form with Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy to reduce waste throughout the government. The spokesperson told FedScoop that the DOGE acts align with the duo's plan to make the federal government more efficient. In other news, the House and Senate Armed Services Committees moved forward with a provision paving the way for an independent study assessing the potential creation of a 6th U.S. military service focused on cyber. Both houses of Congress passed nearly identical provisions in their respective versions of the fiscal 2025 National Defense Authorization Act earlier this year, and they were incorporated into the final conference bill that was reconciled between both chambers and released Saturday evening. The House passed a similar provision last year that was axed during this conference process for the annual defense policy bill, effectively killing it until it was revived this year. Despite some in the Biden administration and the Defense Department voicing opposition to a cyber service, there has been growing support in Congress and among interest groups. The provision calls for an independent assessment by the National Academies of Sciences, Engineering, and Medicine to conduct an evaluation regarding the advisability of either establishing a separate armed force in the Department of Defense dedicated to operations in the cyber domain, or refining and further evolving the current organizational approach for the United States Cyber Command. The issue of creating a 6th military service that is solely focused on cyber operations, while not new, has gained steam over the last year as threats have grown, the landscape is becoming more dynamic, and readiness issues have plagued the military services forces that they present to U.S. Cyber Command. For more news at the intersection of the federal government and technology, make sure to visit fedscoop.com. Thanks so much for tuning in to another episode of the Daily Scoop podcast, available on all podcast platforms. If you've already rated the podcast on your platform of choice, thanks so much. High ratings and good reviews of the show help more people to find it. The Daily Scoop podcast is a production of the Scoop News Group in Washington, D.C. Adam Butler and Carlin Fisher help put the show together, and the entire Scoop News Group team contributes. We'll be back tomorrow with more top headlines. Until then, I'm your host, Billy Mitchell. Thanks so much for listening.